Yeah. I think it's just the headphones.
Left ear.
Good afternoon and welcome to Macquarie Field for Old Boys Day, round 19 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. It's Lake Macquarie Roosters up against Maitland Magpies. It is do or die for the Magpies. A loss this afternoon, even a draw, and their finals hopes will be dust. Chris Turner, you're an old boy at both clubs. What are your thoughts on this one this afternoon?
This is a really big game for Maitland today. Old Boys Day at Lake Macquarie, yes, but Maitland, this is a must-win. They can't afford a draw, and they can't afford a loss here. So, you know what? Really, really important day for them. And without Matt Thompson, who is away on duties, it's a significant gap for them. So I'm really expecting Maitland to put in everything out there today. Potty's on the line. I think they'll play a good style of football. They're looking for lots of possession on a big pitch. It looks a little bit bumpy, but overall, just a draw is not good enough here. They have to win.
So referee this afternoon is Ryan Gallagher. Beautiful sunny skies here at Lake Macquarie. A little windy today. It's about 20 kilometres now from the northwest of Macquarie Field. So from just the left-hand side of screen, which is the northern end, and 21 degrees, so yeah, beautiful day here on the lake. Ryan Gallagher, our referee for this afternoon's match. It's Maitland from right to left in their white kit. Lakes from left to right in the bright yellow. And we are underway in the match of the round, round 19. Maitland have struggled to get results the last couple of weeks, boys. Can they get 3 points when it really, really does matter this week?
Yeah, talking to Phil Dando prior to the game, this is a massive game for Maitland. They know they can't afford to drop points. If they do, their semi-final race is gone. So I think they're going to be desperate today. I think, well, for me, I think they will play out the full 90 minutes. Matt Thompson is a massive, massive loss. They do have Sokolsky coming into the middle of the park. Young boy, Phil Dano rates him very highly. Otherwise, nothing too much changes for Maitland, and I think they're going to be hard to beat today. However, Lake Macquarie coming off a 5-0 drubbing during the week at the Jets. They were very disappointed about that game. And talking to Anthony Richards, he thought they were very poor, so they'll be keen for a big game today. And a lot of boys are playing against their old clubs.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks in a row now. Maitland have had an experienced player missing from the side. Last week, Shane Cansdell Sheriff didn't play in the draw that they had with Valentine at Carl Oval. 2-2. Valentine were down to 10 men for more than 40 minutes in that match. Josh Dutton-Black scored to make it 2-1 with about half an hour to go. And then Jalen Brown stepped up 10 minutes later to lock it up for Valentine. So that was a big 3 points drop for Maitland last weekend. As we mentioned, the Roosters, they had a slim chance of making the finals if they won in the midweek match against the Jets on Tuesday night. They got thumped in a big way, 5-0 after they won 2 straight matches. So they were in a good run of form as Carl Thornton clears it away. But then on Tuesday night they got smashed by the Jets youth. A real shock. I thought they'd be a lot more competitive than that.
Just on that, talking to Anthony Richards, he said they were absolutely outplayed. They were never in the match when they walked on the park. He said he's never seen a side dominate them so much than the Jets, and he was very impressed with the Jets. He actually said Justin Brawley had his best game of the year, and he's been in good form lately, and he expects a big game from Justin today.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Lake Macquarie had returned to form after a middle portion of the season where they won just 1 of 7 matches. So they started the season so strongly. They were undefeated in the first 4 rounds. They were at the top of the ladder after those matches, and since then they've dropped to 7th, and they'd won just 1 of 7 matches. Since then they've won 2 of their last 3. So here's Ryan Clark. He's a very, very much a danger for Anthony Richards' side as Matt Comerford, another danger. There's so many out there for Maitland, and here's the free kick going the way of the Magpies.
So, CT, you here today?
Yeah, I'm here, just biding time. It's all good. One of the keys for Maitland here is how Clark and Comerford, how they're allowed to play, and by that I mean we're on a big park. It's a little bit bumpy, but the speed of both of those guys and their attacking natures, if they're let into the game, then Lake Macquarie could have their hands full. The back line of Holt, Toohey, Fletcher, and West is really key for them today.
Here's Cansdale Sheriff. An early free kick, and Liam Thornton puts his header into the bar, and this one loops up and over for, it'll just be a goal kick in the end. So really that header from Liam Thornton looked like it was going over the bar, but I don't think he put as much force into it as we thought, and it looped onto the crossbar. And
Ben Kelly there.
Here it is.
He's leapt
Kelly
fell heavily.
Almost concussed himself on the post.
Now he looks like he's moving a little bit gingerly.
Just going back to Maitland, a few weeks ago when they played Hamilton, you're talking about drop points. They were up 2-0 with 10 to go, and it came back to 2-2, which is a big.
We talk about matches that Maitland will rue and think that they could have made the finals if the result had have gone differently. There are tons in the last few weeks. So you think about it, round 15 against Hamilton, as Tom Sparrow charges after that one and Tassel puts it over the sideline. Round 15, they're up 2-0 against Hamilton. They conceded twice in the last 12 minutes, so finished 2-2. Then they dropped a point against Edgeworth. They were at 1-1, conceded in stoppage time. They won against Western in round 17, and then last weekend against Valentine, they led against a side down to 10 men.
Yeah, and those opportunities, they, as a coach, you look back at them and they really hurt, as you would agree, Smudge. But you just think about those opportunities and how it could have been. And if they don't get a result today, I'm sure they'll be reflecting on those over the next week or two.
But also Maitland, they played what was it? How many games? 9 games in a month, which was a ridiculous amount due to the wet weather schedule at the start of the year. So, talking to Phil Dendo, they haven't been able to get on the park and train too hard, mainly because they were playing catch-up games in that first part of the season. So, but you know what? There's 4 games to go. There's a great opportunity. If they win their 4 games, they're in the semis.
And Lake Macquarie started off unbelievably. Like you mentioned it before, Bart, how they got off to a really good start to the season, and they outdid everyone's expectation early, and I think may have even surprised themselves. A big key for me, is a few of their players. I've enjoyed their back line. Blake Green on the ball just there, and Tom Walker have been good, and Sam Walker up front in particular.
Here's Sparray. The ball drops nicely for him, and Tom Sparray's not far off. Plenty of confidence after scoring a couple of weeks ago his first goal of the season. And he almost pulled out his second then and there with a lovely volley.
Now, boys, we've got David Eland in our midst today, so we've invited him along for a chat, so we'll hopefully that will materialise. And we'll get to ask him a couple of questions. I'll get your thinking caps on if anyone's got any questions.
And we'll also try and get some updates from that other match this afternoon. Hamilton Olympic up against Western up at Rockwell Automation Park. So a huge match, that one for Hamilton. They really need to win that one. I know they're up there on the ladder, but it's so tight. Any drop points can prove costly. So the results yesterday, Lambton thumped Adamstown 6-1. As we'll see, just the ball trickle over the line for a goal kick for the Roosters. And in the later match last night, Edgeworth did the job over Charlestown 3-1 after being down 1-0 after half an hour.
Yeah, that's a great effort for Edgeworth. Obviously, they've got one eye on the FFA Cup on Wednesday night against South Melbourne. But for me, for Edgeworth winning last night, for me, that puts them in the box seat to win the premiership. It's only theirs to lose now. I cannot see a side closing them down. Here's Sparrow.
Here he is again. So much confidence. Squares it across the face. It's up for Brad York, and he just snatches at it. Tell you what, Smudge, I must say you've got a good call there. So when you call that magic game in round 22, Smudge, you will. I'm looking forward to hearing you call some goals in that one.
Well, I was just watching you there. You weren't even paying attention to the game, mate, so I had to jump in. I actually called the wrong name, believe it or not. It was actually Brad York.
And it was Sparrow down the left. Brad York had the shot.
That's
just
right.
went wide.
Sure
so you were right.
I was right.
You were right.
Oh, I'm all over it.
Yeah, and by the way, it will be rubbish, Bud, when you're gone.
Oh, it'll be good. It'll be good. I'll be listening to it while I'm driving down to Canberra. Is Maitland back on the ball? Dutton Black. Nice deft touch wide to Chris Fayers, who looks centrally. And the ball will just trickle out for a corner. For a throw.
Throw, yeah.
There you go. Pick one of the three.
For me, Maitland need to start strong here. I think if Lake Macquarie pin him down a little bit, Maitland might struggle throughout the game. So if Maitland starts strong, I think they're going to be hard to pull Rain back. What are your thoughts, CT?
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll grow in confidence if they...
Well, here is Dutton Black, now to Clark. Fletcher was in there.
Great
former
challenge.
Maitland player himself, Corey Fletcher, because if he didn't get down low there, Ryan Clark probably would have scored and opened his account for the afternoon. Hasn't scored too many this year. I know he's been out injured. He's just scored the 4, Ryan Clark.
Yeah, for me, Maitland's a side, when they've got confidence and they're full of it, they're unstoppable.
He scored the goal in the round 8 meeting between these two sides, Ryan Clark, in the 50th minute. It was on a break. It was a very tight match, the last one between these two sides. Interestingly as well, Maitland haven't won here at Macquarie Field since 2009 in the Northern League 1. So it's been a while since they tasted success at the home of the Roosters as Matt Comerford goes back.
Well, it's been a bit stop-start the opening 10 or so minutes. I think either team just need to get a foot on the ball, just get a few passes, get a few combinations happening. It's sort of been a bit stop-start at the moment. A little bit of turnover.
And an even afternoon in the previous matches. Lake Macquarie 2-0 winners in the 18s, it is, and in the 20s, Maitland got the job done 2-0 as this ball back to Matt Trott. Well to control, but we're going to come back for the offside. Carl Thornton, cross to his brother. Liam Thornton chips over the top, looking for Clark. The arms are raised, but the flag stays down, and Ryan Clark sprays his shot really poorly across to the right-hand side. I thought he would have been able to do better there. Here it is.
Yeah, I think what he was actually trying to do was just sort of bend it with the outside of his foot, potentially to get it away from the keeper. That may have looked worse than what it actually was, to be honest. But either way, you'd be hoping to get something on target and get the keeper to make a save from there.
The other option he had there was knock the ball in front of the defender coming right down on him, because the defender could have fouled him. That would have been an absolute pen. And then he would have straightened himself up and had a clear shot at goal too.
Yeah, all in all, but you're right. Could have been a lot better than what it was.
So the Roosters with a throw, but yeah, a nervy start to the match, especially on Maitland's behalf, as Chris Fayers now it's easily away from Tom Walker.
He's been good for Chris Fayers since he come from Edgeworth.
And that's the good thing about Damien Zane releasing these players to go to other clubs. We've seen Jordan Jackson, Bo Wilkins at Western, and now Chris Fayers here at Maitland. They've been given the opportunity to play at other clubs, and you can see that just shows you the quality of Edgeworth, that these guys are coming into these other clubs and starting every week for them. And they weren't really getting a look in at Edgeworth, so...
Well, Edgeworth's got such a powerful side, haven't they? Their top 16, 18 players can all play first grade elsewhere.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
That's full credit to Damien Zane as well.
Yeah, so they're
The background stuff.
They're second place on the ladder at the moment, Edgeworth, behind Lambton. Now, Gary Fisher was telling me about this yesterday. They're level on points and goal difference, and Lambton are up the top because of goals scored. So that's the story on the ladder at the moment. Lambton up the top as Brad York on the ball. We have got a goal at Rockwell Automation Park, but Sam Walker is firing a shot, which Matt Trott does well to push away. Comerford now to Sikulski. So Hamilton Olympic leading the Bears by a goal to nil. We'll try and get the goal scorer when we have it. Justin Broadley now goes across the ground. And we've got a special guest as this builds up here for the Roosters. Might see if it amounts to anything. Brad York goes back to Sparray. I should say goes back to Blake Green, and they turn it over. Take it away, CT.
Yeah, our special guest here is David Eland, CEO of Northern Football, and was Newcastle Jets, but now not just Northern Football. David, welcome.
Thanks, Chris. Great to be here. Great day out at Lakes. Beautiful day.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, we were having a chat before the game kicked off, and two things I want to cover off with you is one is Grand Final Day, and the other one we want to talk to you about is these footballers with disabilities that were playing today. I had a chance to talk to Ted Rose, so I got a little bit of information. So, your thoughts on this program?
Terrific initiative by Lakes. Ted Rose doing an absolutely fantastic job there. He was recognised by Northern a few years ago for the work that he's doing for footballers with intellectual disabilities. So it was great to come down today and watch them, play for half an hour. And it doesn't matter, what's your ability or age. They just love scoring goals, don't they? That was the best part, just scoring goals and just seeing the absolute joy that it brings. So well done to the club and Ted Rowe. Ted was telling me before that 9 of the boys have been selected for the Australian team that are going to South Australia next April. So look, Northern are going to see how we can help them out. They need to raise $3,000 each to attend those championships. So the club's going to help them fundraise, but we'll certainly have a look at how we can assist as well. So yeah, it was terrific to get down and have a look at those footballers enjoy our great game, just like everyone else does. Yeah,
and that's right. That's what it's all about, having fun. And we often talk about, Smudge and I in particular, we just enjoy doing this because it's fun, and you're involved, and whatever you take part, etc. It's a great initiative, and Ted's done a great job. And I saw the boys coming around collecting money in a bucket, and Smudge was quick to throw in a redback, which is good, so that it all helps. And also, he mentioned to me that was playing for New South Wales in the Australian Championships next April, and they had, I believe he said 8 of them, but one of them chose 10-pin bowling.
Oh, really?
And this is great because it's just all about enjoyment. So I think it's great.
And participation, which is fantastic.
And we've spoken about Maitland have a special needs footballing in that region, and also Edgeworth have their Arnett's program.
Yeah, football for all at Maitland. Yeah, we've been helping there for a few years, but it is great to see more and more opportunities for people with special needs to enjoy the game that we all love.
Yeah, and both these boys know I'm a big advocate of that, and we speak regularly about these programs because I think it's really important for community football. And the other thing I want to touch with you, David, and then we'll get back to the game, is Grand Final. So the Grand Final's got a change of venue for 2017.
Yes, look, the board have made the decision this year to have the PS4 NPL Grand Final at McDonald Jones Stadium. Which, look, overall I think's been really well received by the football community. So it'll be on Saturday the 2nd of September. We'll get away from Father's Day for once, which will be no doubt be very popular amongst all the dads out there. So the first grade grand final will kick off at 7 o'clock, so it'll be a nighttime game. Tickets go on sale on the 1st of August. And look, we're really looking forward to it. The stadium, I've got to say, have been absolutely fantastic to work with. The venue manager out there is a guy by the name of Brett Campbell, who's former FFA. So he's been very, very supportive. and they're going to help us to put on an absolutely fantastic event. I won't give away too much, but it's the event presentation is going to be well beyond a local football grand final. We're really going to try and step it up and really not only rely on the two teams out there to put on a great performance, but provide some other entertainment as well.
Just give us a little sneaky preview, just something to.
Well, look, it's at night time, so I think it'd be a real shame not to have some lights and great music and perhaps even fireworks. So we'll see how we go. There you go. I've given away most of it, CT.
That's perfect. And finally, mate, people wanting to buy tickets, how can they get a hold of them?
The usual way. So just get on to McDonald Jones' website, and there'll be a link there. I'm pretty sure that it's Ticketmaster who are the link. They'll be available from the 1st of August. And look, it's like most other rights holders. The way we're doing tickets this year is get on and pre-purchase, because it'll be much cheaper to pre-purchase than it will be just to turn up on the day, and that'll avoid queues out the front as well. So look, we're really looking forward to the day. We're putting a lot of effort in to make sure that this year's grand final is bigger and better than any one of those grand final days before. So it should be a really, really good day. 3 grades, 18s, 20s, and first grade. First grade kicking off at 7 o'clock. Get and buy your tickets from the 1st of August and set the date aside and have a great day, regardless of who's in the grand final.
Well, us three in particular are looking forward to it, and there's nothing like being there, is there? In the atmosphere of a grand final, we love it.
That's right. I think grand final day is something special, and hopefully because it's at McDonald Jones Stadium, there'll be a lot of neutrals that get out there and want to be part of the day.
Yep. Well, that's been fantastic. Thanks for your insights on that and joining us here on
Thanks,
Bar
and
TV.
look, huge thank you to Bar TV on behalf of Northern New South Wales Football. Bar TV's support of our game locally is really appreciated. I know the clubs do, and we certainly do as well.
Yeah, well, on that, we absolutely enjoy it, and it's good fun for us as well. So, yeah, thanks for coming in and joining us.
Back to you, Bart. You still there?
Oh, I'm still here. Thanks to David Eland for coming and having a chat to us this afternoon, and that's going to be an exciting spectacle Saturday night as Sam Walker almost a slight chance there.
Interesting, he was trying to keep it all under wrap, and I think he's given most of it away, Bart, so that's all good news. So if you're looking forward for a great night out, I'm guessing you'll have one, and we love our grand final days because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. As Zach Hill pushes forward, a reminder that the Friday night before Grand Final Day, we'll be doing our live weekly show then. So a special half-an-hour edition. So it'll be live on Facebook. We'll be there, Smudge, you, me, and CT. And
half an hour.
Half an hour. I don't know how we're going to last for half an hour, but yes, Friday night before Grand Final.
And just talking briefly to Dave, then kick-off will be 7 p.m, so... Okay. Perfect.
And it's pretty good when he came up. He didn't kick us off, so we've still got another gig for next week.
Well, just quickly, that'll be when we're kicking off on Friday night as well.
Oh, okay.
For the big show. So we'll be having the
Do
grand
we get
final.
Hair and makeup?
I don't know. The grand final coaches and a couple of captain from each side. So.
Mate, do you know most clubs train on a Friday night?
Well, not the day before the grand final, Smudge.
Oh.
Surely not. Maybe a session in preparation, but I'm sure the coaches and captains can spare a half an hour, 7 o'clock. So the goal scorer at Western was Scott Smith for Hamilton Olympic. They lead by a goal to nil. And boys, this match at the moment hasn't really reached any great heights any great heights as yet, as Tom Walker on the ball at the back. How would you describe the opening 20 minutes, CT?
Well, look, it hasn't exactly opened like I thought it would. I thought Maitland would be throwing a little bit more...
artillery.
And a bit more of a direct component to their style. But to be honest, it looks like to me they're just settling into a game and ready to fight it and battle it the whole way through. Which playing, for absolute points, a little bit surprising. But, obviously they've got a plan.
Yeah, I think they've been patient as well. They've had a few... Just too far. They've had a few, fairly decent opportunities. Not really too clear-cut, but they've just been patient with their build-up, patient with the ball. They're trying to... get Cumberford and Ryan Clark isolated in that one-on-one situation where they can burn for pace. So, yeah, it's been a bit stop-start, but I think Maitland probably slightly edging at the moment if you look at chances and balls into the area.
Well, away from home, Maitland have been outstanding this season. They've only lost one match, and that was to Adamstown in round 11, that 3-1 defeat. So 7 matches out of the 8 they haven't suffered defeat in when they've travelled away from Cook Square Park. It's a different story at Cook Square Park. They've lost 4 of their 8 matches there. So you sense this afternoon is a great opportunity for them. It's a bigger ground as well, so it allows their speed men a lot more space.
And the other thing, Bart, they know they need to win 4 out of 4, so...
There's Green over the top for Walker, but he's just offside. He's looking for a couple of goals this afternoon, Sam Walker, to take him to the top of the Golden Boot count. It's Jalen Brown up the top on 12. Sam Walker second on 11. Pat Brown is on 10. Reen Ferguson is on 10. But it just shows you...
Goodchild's on 10 as well.
Goodchild is on 10 as well, yeah. 4 penalties in that 10 for Kane Goodchild as well. And Scott Smith is on 9
ball
now with that goal this afternoon. Here's Dutton Black across the face, and Ben Kelly dives low and takes it comfortably. Normally very, very safe is Ben Kelly.
He seems to have recovered perfectly from that heavy fall that he had a little bit earlier. And a couple of real keys in this game too for Lake Macquarie is Ryan Broadley and his combinations with Blake Green. I think that's a real key. Justin Broadley. There's a few of them. Sorry about that, Juddy. I've only ever called him Juddy. So so the way that Juddy gets himself today with Blake Green, I think that's a real key for them. And Sam Walker, he's a real danger in every game. So hopefully he'll prove a handful for them as well.
Do you know what? Lake Macquarie, a few times they've got around the Maitland.
Here is Broadley almost lining one up.
Yeah.
Here's Tom Walker. Brings it wide to Dean Holt. Now we remember, we haven't been to Macquarie Field since that infamous match against the Jaffers in round 5, where Dean Holt went for the salmon.
That's right.
The
Salmonator.
That was
the Salmonator, that was it. There's Dutton Black. Down the far side of the ground. He has had a great run the last few matches. He scored his 4 goals all in the back half of the season. And he's managed to score 3 times in the last 2 matches. A goal last week and a double against Western.
Yeah, he's got great balance, hasn't he? He's got great balance. He's quite thick. So he's got great centre of gravity, great balance, and he's able to manoeuvre around a play with ease.
And obviously he's going to be huge for Mick Bolch and Maitland next year as well. Dutton Black. They're going to have a side that will challenge for the premiership. So we see a free kick going the way of the Magpies.
Alex Reid heading to Maitland as well.
Oh, is he?
Certainly
from Adamstown, yeah. That's a great pick up from Bolchi.
Rumours that Shane Cansdell Sheriff, the Maitland centre-back, is going to be coaching at Adamstown next year. That was in the paper today. Is this one called in and just goes wide of the far post, and it will be a corner.
Yeah, that was rumours around the ground when we walked in, wasn't it, CT? So, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the course of the next week or so with coaching positions. Obviously, here at Lake Macquarie hasn't been settled yet in Adamstown. So, with Shane Price moving to assist Pascoe at Lambton Jaffers next year.
And did hear a rumour of a Central Coast coach potentially coaching Adamstown also. So
here's Carl Thornton. His header onto the head of Matt Toohey. Cansdell Sheriff lashes at it. And now Chris Fayers does likewise and just puts it over the bar. Yeah, former Mariners captain, CT. Put the dagger into the heart of the Jets season last year. We won't say a name. You can work it out for yourselves. But, yes. Ben Kelly launches a goal kick long. Sam Walker on the turn and gives it away. And Ryan Clark curls it wide to Dutton Black, who sends Fayers down the far side of the ground. And be a Magpies throw.
Boys, don't forget we've got the Sports Click Man of the Match to talk about as the game progresses, so we'll keep a sharp eye on that. And people can even...
Here's Chris Fayes curling one in. Ben Kelly up he rises. Just before you go on, CT, Maitland's form since that defeat to Adamstown, that defeat that was probably, I would say, I'm trying to think of a bigger upset this year. We had that Lake Macquarie defeat of Magic. That was a big upset, but Adamstown, who were sitting bottom of the ladder, I think, at the time, beat Maitland 3-1. Since that defeat, they've only lost 1 of 6 matches, and it could have been none of 6.
And that was
they'd held out against Edgeworth.
And that was after Maitland beat Magic 7-1.
7-0. 7-0. They've had a poor run since then. Had a poor run up to that Adamstown game, and then they found some form in recent weeks. I don't know, in the wash-up at this stage, Maitland can still make the finals, but a lot of people would have expected them to be in the top 4 at this time of the season. Do you think that start to the season really hurt them? That nine matches in, what was it, 40 days or something like that?
Yeah, because they received quite a few injuries. The other thing is that they'll play matches, but like Dando said to me a few weeks ago, they weren't able to work on shape. They just continually playing. They weren't able to do any hard training, or they're just mainly recovering. They couldn't really do too much with the ball, so it's a slight disadvantage, even though they're playing games, repetitious games.
And do you think the fact that Phil Dando came in at late notice, they didn't really have a coach, they didn't know what they were doing, is that an excuse, or was Matt Thompson doing enough there to say that it's probably not an excuse? Because I know Matt Thompson did a lot of the coaching work between the period that Dean Heffernan left and Phil Dando came in.
Yeah, I don't think that's an excuse at all. In fact, it's a perfect transition, to be honest, because Matt Thompson, anyone that knows him and when you speak to him about football, his knowledge of the game is just outstanding, and he's the way he structurally talks about a game, it makes a lot of sense. So I think that he would transition that over beautifully to Dando, but I'm more where Smudge is at in terms of just playing and not being able to work on structures and shape, and not getting a regular touch on the ball. Even though you're playing, you may not touch the ball as much as what you normally do when you're training. We
mentioned Matt Thompson as Maitland win a free kick in decent position here again. Matt Thompson out of the side with 5 yellow cards this afternoon. Have either of you two seen Matt Thompson around the ground this afternoon?
Someone said he's playing in an international challenge with Macquarie in Adelaide.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the
past legends or something?
Yes, yep. So I'm thinking he would have missed this match anyway as Dutton Black curls it in. Thornton again, and this time it curls under the bar and in, and Liam Thornton has his 2nd goal of the year, and that one was much more important than the one he scored late against the Jets youth. That's a crucial goal for the Magpies, and they lead by 1-0.
Yeah, and that certainly is a crucial goal, and you know what? He is no stranger to scoring goals with his head. That is his way, his eyes have lit up, and he's just popped it where it had to go.
Can I say that header was brilliant? He just lobbed that straight over Ben Kelly's head.
It was very similar to the header earlier in the match, wasn't it? That lobbed onto the bar.
Yeah, he sort of guided it in that far corner. That was a brilliant goal. And you know what? I think Maitland probably deserved to go in the front 1-0. It's been very tight. Maitland probably just having a few...
Here's Walker quickly onto Sparray. Shows a clean pair of heels down the left edge. Curls it back to Brad York. Dean Holt is going to arrive, and I'm not quite sure what he was doing there, CT. Was he trying to shoot? I would have thought.
I think so. I think
the better option would be to lob one back into the middle where he had Broadley and Walker.
Yeah, if you got numbers there, that would be more sensible, but his eyes have lit up and he's pulled the trigger.
Well, this is dangerous.
Cansdale Sheriff under a bit of pressure. Now with Fayes. Now Walker almost threads it through for his brother.
That was well read by Zach Hill.
And now Sokulski.
He's busy, this Sokulski.
Quickly away from Blake Green. And now Ryan Clark. So much speed to burn, and Ryan Clark can't keep his shot down for the 3rd time this afternoon.
Just want to go back a few plays before when Chris Fayes had the ball in the centre part. He played it out to Dutton Black, and then he ran in Dutton Black's space. Players like Dutton Black, Ryan Clark, and Comerford, you want to leave them one-on-one with the defender, because they've got speed to burn and they're great in one-on-one situations. So yeah, if I was Phil Dando, I'll be getting. He's doing a great job in there, Chris Faze, but not running to the space of the attackers.
Now, we've mentioned Matt Thompson out for Maitland this afternoon. Tom Smart is out for the Roosters.
He's a big loss for the Roosters. He's been one of their best this year, Tommy Smart.
Yeah, former Jaffa.
I think he's been playing. This is Dutton Black.
Here he is again, weaving a web around the Roosters' defence. And over the line.
And just again then, the ball's gone out to Dutton Black and Chris Faze has ran into his space, so it crowds the space. You want to give Dutton Black, Cumberford, Ryan Clark a lot of space, one-on-one situations. They're very dangerous.
And that is 7 unanswered goals now that Lake Macquarie have conceded. So they conceded late against Adamstown in their 3-1 win. They conceded 5 against the Jets and then 1 there against the Magpies. So that's 7 goals without scoring.
Now we're missing someone at the moment. Bart, CT's gone for a bit of a wander. He's an old boy for Lake Macquarie. I think he's gone to venture past the tent.
He's going to go as Tom Walker decides he will try and launch one, but it never got off the ground. Didn't take off there for him. And I think every week, Matt Trott, one of the premier goalkeepers in the comp, he'll be hard to beat, but
he's been very good, hasn't he?
He has been very good, but the last few weeks they've leaked goals, and really none of them from my memory have been his fault. They've leaked, they've conceded 2 goals in the last 4 matches. 2 goals a game in the last 4 matches. Phil Dando said, you're not going to win many games if you're conceding 2 a game.
No, exactly. Well, you need to score 3, don't you?
And you think about the goals that have beaten him. Gee, they've copped some rippers. We had the Hamilton game 4 weeks ago. Scott Smith with one where he picked out the top corner. Pratt with a volley.
Yeah. Jalen Brown for Valentine last week.
Jalen Brown last week. Reece Pettit with a header that just looped over his head. And, the Bears, he made a hash of an early one against Western, but that would probably be the only blot in the last few weeks on his copybook in terms of his performance.
And Chris Turner rejoins us.
What did you find out, CT?
Just trying to make a phone call.
Oh, they're
Here's Brad York. Squares it up and they turn it over. It's just those passes at the moment for the Roosters, not finding their target. Sikulski attempted to be dragged down by Justin Broadley.
Oh, great
now
touch.
Fletcher. He's been done very easily by Clark, and Ryan Clark now fires his shot straight into the knee of Matt Toohey.
Yeah, I'm surprised Ryan Clark didn't have a go at Matt Toohey. There's still space in beyond.
Pretty much fired it straight into him, didn't he? It was surprising. He's had some chances early on, Ryan Clark.
Yeah, he's a very dangerous player. Very good player.
Trialled at the Perth Glory. Inglewood in the WA NPL he had some time at. And there's Dean Holt.
Yeah, Ryan Clark, he always tends to have an injury or 2 throughout a season. It'll be great to see him one year just fully fit, raring to go.
And last year, of course, he missed a portion of the season playing in that finals, that inter-district finals match where he got suspended for pretty sure half the season. This one chipped over the top and over the byline. So
let's not take anything away from Toohey either. He put himself in great position, stood up nice, and he was slowing him down and pretty much making a shot very much in the end. That's what it proved to be. So I've liked him as a defender. Like he seems to do very well.
Trot goes up the ground. Dean Holt gets a feather on it and will be over for a Magpies throw. Second best attacking side in the competition, Maitland. They've scored 32 goals in 16 matches, so they're going at 2 goals a game. They're equal with Magic and Edgeworth, but Magic and Edgeworth have played 1 more game. So they've actually now gone above them, 33 in 17, Maitland. So there were 2 a game coming into this one, just under it, unless they can grab a second here. So very, very good in front of goal, but it's defensively And even defensively, Maitland have been pretty good. They've only conceded 24 in their 16 and a half matches. This is now their 17th. It's just been the time that they've conceded goals. That's what has hurt Maitland. Just goals conceded at the wrong time. They've put 6 past the Jets youth, 7 past Magic, so that takes up a large portion. Thornton again, geez, had some chances. And that's what it can come down to, can't it, Smudge? It's just when you score those goals. I can relate it more so to a tennis match. Sometimes you'll play a tennis match, the scoreline's pretty close. You can actually have won more points than your opposition player and still lose the match. So that's probably the case with Maitland in terms of just not scoring goals at the right time.
Well, soccer's very similar. You could have like maybe 100 shots to the opposition one, but they score the goal.
And that's been the case. I'm pretty sure Valentine's goal difference is about +6, so it's similar. They're scoring goals when they need to. At the death, they scored that goal against Western a few weeks ago, so
but I remember
probably just been the difference between Maitland being where they are now and being in the top 4.
But you know what, Bart? It's all about defence. Defences win premierships for me. You're always going to score goals, but defence. If you can prevent the he's Dutton Black 1-on-1.
Dutton Black takes on West.
He did well, West.
Got a boot in, curled it in, and it's clear to Spar. Back he goes to Tom Walker.
Yeah, just going back, I think back in 2005 when I was coaching Broadmeadow, we won the. Well done by Sikowski.
Sikowski and Matt Tui just came in, drove the hip in there, and Ryan Gallagher is going to go and have a chat to him.
Do you know, Sikowski reminds me of the guy Feeney from the Swans, the AFL player. He just gets in there.
Isaac Heaney.
Sorry. I was watching him last night. He's just like he's just busy, he gets stuck in there, no fuss, just he does well. He's been very good.
He actually got himself coat hanging on a post last year. Just shows you how much effort he puts in. Isaac Heaney wrapped himself around a pole as Matt Comerford tries his luck, and it takes a bit more of an aerial route off the back of one of the late Macquarie players in the wall, and it will be a corner.
But just going back to what you were saying before, Bart, I remember coaching Broadmeadow in 2004 when we won the minor premiership. We only conceded 6 goals all year. However, we only scored 20 or 30. We didn't score too many because we were winning games 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
Dutton Black curls it in. That's so important. And Maitland went through a phase like that. They beat Lake Macquarie 1-0. They beat Western 1-0. Just in the back.
So I think defences wins comps for me. And look, if you look at Edgeworth, they've only conceded 12 goals after last night's game. They've got by far the best defence in the comp, with Hamilton with 17 against. So
just that middle period where they sort of fell away, and we've had a few chats about it off air about the middle period of the season where you're not really focused on the ladder because finals is a bit far away. You don't sort of have that same energy that you do at the start of the season because it's the beginning of the campaign. So how do you keep your side? We'll come back after Blake Green. Goes wide to Spar. He takes on Tassel. Squares it up, Sam Walker. On Old Boys Day. Just couldn't squeeze it inside the far post. How do you keep your side going through that middle portion of the season where things do get a little bit slow and you don't probably have as much energy as you do early and late on in the season?
Yeah, what you've got to do is you've got to mix it up.
Yes,
and
definitely.
You know, as a coach, you can kind of tell when your players start to drop away a little bit, and sometimes that excitement and the freshness of early in the year when everyone's buzzing, and then you get into the winter, it gets a bit colder and it's raining at training. You might want to sort of work on some different aspects of your game. So by that time of the year, usually finding out what's working well and what hasn't worked so well, and things that you could improve on, and maybe get a lot more specific about that. Some other things that clubs do is they go and they maybe do something different, maybe a social night out, or they can mix things up. So just depending, and Smudge, you'd have your own way that you would have done things as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said there. I remember once we mid-season, we decided to do a CrossFit, let's go to CrossFit. He's
Dutton Black again does well, and then gets brought to ground and puts a little bit of a roll on there. I don't know if Fletcher gave him a little bit more on the ground. He'll go into the book. Corey Fletcher.
One thing, sorry, Smudge, one thing you can say about Corey Fletcher, he will put his body on the line and run through a brick wall. So if he thinks it needs some extra attention, he won't hesitate to put his body through it.
And obviously he's recognised as like he's a key, or one of the key players for Maitland. He's really sort of had an opportunity to just give Dutton Black a bit of a nudge and let him know that he's there.
Here's Comerford. Now it isn't a corner, so here it is. And is there a penalty? Ryan Gallagher is pointing to the goal kick. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Is it a penalty? Is it a goal kick? Just angled his arm in there.
Looked like a bit of a push on Carl Thornton as he was going for the ball.
Thornton said that he certainly...
To be honest, I don't know how Carl would have missed that because he's only a yard out and it was going towards his head.
So 2 and a bit minutes now left before the break. And it's Liam Thornton, Carl's brother, who opened the scoring with his head.
Now, Bart, I've got a message here. It says that Harry Taylor was privileged to get a wave off Smudge before the game, Bart. What do you make of that?
There you go.
Privileged to get a wave off.
Privilege is here. Could be some problems for Matt Sikulski. The busy bee he is in the middle of the park. Smudge, he goes into the book. He gets a yellow card.
So yeah, just going back before about mixing it up during the year, I remember we took the boys to CrossFit. Josh Pennington took the boys to CrossFit at one of his local gyms, and that was on a Thursday night just to mix it up a little bit. And the boys couldn't even walk for the next 3 days, and we had to play Western at Western. So that was probably a bit. We did win 4-0, and Andrew Hoole was actually in our squad back then. But I remember the boys couldn't even walk for about 3 or 4 days, and that was a big mistake. But,
yeah, well played, coach.
Yeah. So
well, they won 4-0, so I'd take that. As Chris Fayers here breaks for Maitland. He sends Comerford away. Steps back inside and then gets brought down. Matt Tui. He's got a problem. And it's yellow in colour.
He's had a few challenges, Matt Tui needs to be careful.
And that is a big blow for the Roosters, having their centre back on a yellow card. He will have to be very, very careful, as you said, Smudge. And we've got a substitution here. This is... So it's Dean Holt, who is in all sorts. We hadn't noticed that previously.
Hey, just on Maitland, their transition is lightning. If they can transition nice and quick, they'll catch the legs a little bit thin at the back. They're going to be very dangerous, just like them.
So it's Josh Simons who's about to come on for Dean Holt, who's gone down. And Reese Pappas has scored for Hamilton. They lead 2-0 at Western. So is that 3 points going Olympics way? You'd probably say that'll be enough for them.
I think so, but the other thing is it's all about goal difference as well this time of year. It's going to be so tight in these positional plays, but I suppose second and third doesn't really matter where you come to your CT.
So it doesn't matter, but straight after the game at Lambton yesterday, there was some buzz and talk about around the ground about the 6 goals that they scored yesterday, a +5.
Cairnsdale Sheriff curls it just wide. And speaking of Olympic, they were the side that would just be a little nervous. They were on the precipice before this match in 4th spot. Now it's Valentine. If Olympic win that, which you'd say they probably will now, Valentine are now on the precipice on 32 points. And I was thinking, we might chat about it in the second half, that match against Adamstown, will that come back to bite the Phoenix? As we see a throw for the Magpies. Zach Hill goes back to Matt Trott. The match of the round next week. 2 huge matches, especially if Maitland win this one. They play Magic.
That's a massive match, isn't it? If Maitland win this one, massive.
There'll be heaps of people tuning into the live stream for that one, but also the match that we are doing. We're doing Olympic and Valentine at Darling Street Oval. As Ryan Clark takes off.
He's been good, Ryan Clark. Dangerous every time he gets the ball.
Josh West is trying to keep pace with him and did pretty well. He goes with the outside of his boot, Ryan Clark, and all cleared away in the end. And that will do us. Ryan Gallagher, he's had a blowout with the whistle there. Sounded a bit odd, but it means all the same. The sides will head to the sheds with Maitland leading by a goal to nil. He may need a new whistle there. That was strange. The first half, yeah, probably didn't reach many great heights.
Yeah.
I think Maitland's done the job, to be honest. I think Maitland's been in control. They've had a few good chances. They've been in some great positions. In saying that, Lakes have had a few sniffs at goal as well. But for me, I think that Maitland's been quite patient. They're doing well. They're transitioning quite quick. And they're deserving leaders at 1-0 at half-time.
Yeah, I think so too. I mentioned before, I thought they might have come out a little bit more direct and a little bit maybe playing down in Macquarie's end more, but they have taken a more structured, a patient approach, and for this it's working. And if you go in at half time and you're the coach of Maitland, you're probably going to say, well, let's just continue on, because we've certainly got our noses in front. Another goal and we'll go on with it.
To be honest, I think Phil Dano would have hoped to be probably 2 up in front. They probably deserve to be 2 up if you look at chances, but they'll take a 1-0 lead going into the second half.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Half time at Macquarie Field. It's Lake Macquarie 0, Maitland Magpies 1. Welcome back to Macquarie Field. Second half underway. It's the Roosters to get us started, and they'll be running from right to left in the bright yellow in the second half. The Magpies from Maitland with the 1-0 lead at the break in white in the second half. And Lakes with an early chance here. They haven't really threatened Matt Trott's goal very much this afternoon. But it was Liam Thornton with the goal for Maitland to make it 1-0 from a header. Matt Comerford now. The match really is opened up. Here's Comerford. Ben Kelly smothers that one into the turf. So, 2 early chances in the second half for both sides, CT. This is how you expected it to go, the script to run in the first half.
It is, isn't it? They've come out, and obviously both coaches, Damien Smith is just on his way back for the background noise.
Here's Fayers, dodging away from a couple, sets it up. Ryan Clark fires home Maitland's second, and here is the celebration again, CT. What is that between Josh Dutton-Black and Ryan Clark? 2-0 to the Magpies.
I'm not sure.
Tell us about the celebration.
I'm not sure about the celebration. What I do know is in the back of the net, and now it's 2-0.
Here it is. We'll have a look at the replay and the celebration as well. So really a mistake at the back there. And Chris Fayers tees up Ryan Clark, and here it is.
I love it. That's quality. That's something maybe...
3 weeks. So whenever Josh Dutton-Black scores or whenever Ryan Clark scores, that's the celebration between the two of them. And as we know, Dutton-Black scored a few the last couple of weeks, and now Ryan Clark's got in on the act as well.
I'm guessing there's going to be some people at home that will question the marking of Lake Macquarie and how Ryan Clark gets that much free time in the box. And you know what? That's something that Lake Macquarie really need to address if this number's not going to get any bigger. They need to have numbers in defence, and clearly they were missing on that occasion.
And that is 8 unanswered goals they've conceded now, the Roosters.
Yeah, this is a real shame because I mentioned their back four earlier in the game, and I liked them, but on that occasion there was a mistake, and then there was people missing. So, yeah, unfortunate for them at this point now, 2-0.
Now, it's going to be difficult to see the Roosters getting back into it from here against a Maitland side that has to win. But just speaking on their season, so at the moment, I'm pretty certain they're going to finish in 7th place on the ladder. Is that a really good performance from this Lakeside? Do you think at the start of the season a lot of people would have expected them to finish in the top 7 this year?
Well, certainly after the start they had, people would be thinking that they're going to be up higher in the ladder and challenging for the semi-finals. And you know what? I'll be honest, there was a point that I did as well. They were surprising. Sam Walker was just scoring goals, and Juddy was playing particularly well. Their back line was great. Corey Fletcher, who's on the ball now, he'd been doing really well for them, and Tom Walker had been special as well. So it just wouldn't surprise, but you'd have to say second half of the season's been a bit more disappointing.
Sam Walker across the face, but I'm saying at the start of the season, before that great start from the Roosters, is this an overachievement from them finishing 7th?
I think so. I think
I would have to agree.
Seriously.
I think they've done really well to finish 7th. Everyone expected Adamstown to finish in the top 6 after that Heritage Cup performance where they beat Edgeworth.
Yeah, well, look, I'm not 100% confident that's an overachievement. You look at their coach first and foremost. He's one of the best we've got, and he's going to bring the best out of his people every single week and every session. He's very well organised, and he knows his football. So for me, there's no surprise. But you look through their team, and you rattle off some names. Blake Green.
How many of these played NPL last year? Most of the players have come up from the second division last year.
I think it's a great performance.
They've done tremendous this year.
Yeah,
and full credit to Anthony Richards.
I don't disagree with that, but most of them have been there before at some point, so it's not new either.
I agree with that.
You'd probably say someone like Justin Broadley. He had a year last year there, but anyway, they've got some great players in their side. So.
Yeah, in saying that, I know a lot of these guys have played in the NPL before, but I feel back when they were last in the NPL in 2014, the speed and the ability of the players playing in the NPL, I'd probably say the speed of the game and the quality has improved immensely since they were last in the NPL. So that's why I think it's a great performance from from Lake Macquarie to make this step up, and that's what Anthony Richards was saying at the start of the year. He was saying a lot of these guys playing UFM last year, it's a lot slower, and then you've come back into the NPL and you've got to quickly adapt, and I think they adapted really, really well.
Yeah, they had a great start to the season, and just on that, I wouldn't discount Lake Macquarie at the moment in this game. I think Maitland still need to get another goal.
Ryan Clark, it may just come here as Chris fires to Ryan Clark, to Comerford, I should say, and Comerford sprays that one wide.
I agree, Smudge, and we've seen 2-0 score lines evaporate.
Especially with Maitland.
And one thing about Lake Macquarie is that because they are a harmonious group and their coach, Anthony Richards, does have them in a fashion that's, boys are absolutely taking the mick on me here right now, as if I'm singing, but because they are, a harmonious group, boys, that they are likely to never give up, and that's the case. And Maitland hasn't finished off well, so between that combination, it's not over. And I, Smudge, agree again that they do need another goal, Maitland, to put this one away.
Here's Corey Fletcher.
Yeah, because if Lake Macquarie do score, make it a 2-1 scoreline, Maitland's going to be very nervous. And obviously Maitland's going for the 3 points. They need the 3 points today. So sometimes, they're up 2-0. They might start to drop off a little bit, drop a little bit deeper, allow Lake Macquarie on the ball a bit more, which could be an issue. So I think it's important Phil Dando make sure Maitland don't take their foot off the throttle.
There's Thomas Sparrow looking for Walker. And he'll be really after a goal this afternoon, because if he scores, he'll go level with Jalen Brown in the Golden Boot race.
Cairnsdale Sheriff, for me, is a tremendous player. He just reads the game so well at the back. He's an unsung hero for Maitland. Yeah,
and that's what has surprised me, these late goals that they have conceded, with the experience of Shane Cairnsdale Sheriff in the back line.
You know what, I think a lot of it might come down to fitness. Like I said, they never had a chance to actually, like Phil Dino said, to do good solid training with all those wet games. It's just game after game after game, and players are injured. Just going back on Ryan Clark's goal, it's called the padlock, the celebration. They did tell me a bit of a story behind it, which I can't.
Yep, we can't reveal anymore. I do know the story behind that.
So it's called the padlock.
So you might remember,
and it is
boys,
a padlock.
You might remember, boys, at Magic that afternoon we were calling a particular player the human padlock. Is that correct?
We were. Josh Dutton Black.
Yes. So maybe we'll piece that one together.
Yes, and because this is PG rated, CT.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to keep it. We've got to keep it.
I don't know where you're headed with this, but
there's James Tassel now to Hill and looking for Thornton. And Ryan Gallagher gives the free kick to Lake. Still that whistle not performing at its optimum level for Ryan Gallagher. Might need a new one.
I thought Maitland a little bit sloppy there. I think they just need to get their mind back on the job. They need the 3 points here.
Yeah, they've just got a little sloppy in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, last 5 minutes, so they need to be careful.
Corey Fletcher.
Because the Lakes can just play free will. They've got nothing. Well, they're obviously playing for pride every game, and they're playing against their old mates, but they're not playing for semi-final spots at the moment. So, and sometimes that could be dangerous playing against the side.
It is dangerous, but don't forget it's Old Boys Day here, and you look down our left and there is a great representation of former players and coaches, etc., down there enjoying themselves. So they've got plenty to play for. As much as anything, they're just competitive people.
Great ball by Ryan Clark.
Dutton Black into the box and just couldn't get the shot away from Ben Kelly. There's 4 Lake Macquarie players out there today who have played at Maitland. We've got Ben Kelly in goals. Matt Tui, the centre back. Corey Fletcher also in the back line and in the middle of the park. Justin Broader, of course, his brother Ryan playing at Maitland this year, but he's over in the UK, I'm pretty sure, on a trip. Europe, at least in Europe. It's a change for the Roosters. Trent Partridge going on. Josh West off the ground. And Trent Partridge scored his first goal of the season in that win over Adamstown a couple of weeks ago, and celebration was pretty good from him.
That? Yeah, what was that?
It was he did the little rooster celebration.
For me, just at the moment, Maitland just sort of dropped off a little bit. They just need to be a bit careful here.
They're just on tilt a little bit, Smudge.
Yeah, just slightly, Look, they're quite deep in defence. Still a long way to go.
Over half an hour, well over half an hour. Matt Tui gives the ball away. Gallagher keeps. Now this time he does blow the whistle, and free kick goes the way of Maitland.
He's had a fair game, Gallagher.
Boys, speaking of good footballers as we were earlier, we've got one sitting directly behind us in Alex Reid. And we're going to have a quick chat to Reedy. Welcome in, Alex.
Hey boys, how you going?
Yeah, we're well. And mate, we just quickly, you've had a couple of seasons now with Adamstown Rosebuds, and tough day yesterday. You've come up against a side in Lambton Jaffers that up until you went off at half time, it was 0-0, and then we saw a pretty heavy second half for Adamstown.
Yeah, can't really explain what exactly happened and whatnot, but the Lambton seemed to come out with an extra gear and decided to put 2 in about the space of about 30 seconds straight after half time, which really sort of deflated the boys. And then it just went on from there, and they ended up getting 6 in the end.
Yeah, as you know, I was at the game yesterday, and I saw you personally. You took a hit. I thought it was your knee, because you had a bit of trouble with that. And then after that, we discovered it was your hip. How are you now?
Not too good, mate, at the moment. Can't really sit properly and walk around too much, but I dare say just a couple of days off and sitting around resting it for a little bit will be able to fix it right up and then come back for our Old Boys Day, funnily enough, next week against Charlestown.
Just come back to that.
Well, Blake Green sends Tom Walker away. A nice quick break here from the Roosters. And Sam Walker, it sits up for him. Sikulski appeals for handball from the Roosters Old Boys. And just getting a little nervy from them. If they park the bus, CT.
You don't want to park the bus. You want to continue to attack, because that's where they've done well. And Smudge has just said they need to be careful here, and totally agree with that. Back to you, Reedy. There's a fairly strong rumour that you're playing at Maitland next year. Can you confirm that?
Oh yeah, can confirm that one there. CT for you, putting me on the spot a little bit there. But no, going back to where I was a couple of years ago, and very, very excited to be there.
Yeah, well, you initially came. We got together there when I was there, and you had a good year there. And I know that the footballing side they've got now is a very strong one, so you'll fit into that beautifully. And I expect that you'll have a great year next year and a very good one personally. So that's good. So, mate, all the best for the rest of this year. Hope the injury comes out well.
Sam Walker curls it in. The ball almost loops its way in. And now Maitland is very nonchalant clearance, wasn't it?
Certainly was. But we'll just finish with Reedy. Appreciate your time, mate, and thanks for coming to have a chat to us, and hope you enjoy the rest of this season.
Thanks, boys. Thank you.
That was Alex Reid, Adamstown Rosebuds, on the move to Maitland Magpies.
Heard it first here, or has it already been reported, CT?
Not quite sure, but he certainly looked a little bit under pressure to answer the question, so if it is, it's fresh.
Great ball.
Sikulski fires a diagonal ball to Ryan Clark, which is running a little too fast for him. But Smudge, as Alex Reid was talking there, you were like a cat on a hot tin roof as Maitland were trying to defend there, going, gee, they're not defending very well, are they?
They're not reactive, they're just sort of standing, which is a slight concern for me. That's why I said don't ride Lakes off.
So here they come. And any side with Sam Walker in it.
This is 4v3 here.
Dangerous, as here's Tom Sparrow. Deflects nicely for Brad York. So here they come, the Roosters. York tries to go over the top of Lamb Thornton, but it'll fall nicely for number 16 out there, which is Josh Simons, and broadly across to York. Back for Partridge. Played at Western last season to Trent Partridge.
Very deep here, Maitland again. They're sort of sitting back just outside the 18-yard box. There's a bit of space in midfield for Lakes.
Tui chips up and over the top. Tassel there with the head. Is this... You don't sense this as a decision by Phil Danto because Maitland have conceded a lot of late goals just to sort of, we're up 2-0, let's just conserve a bit of energy for a period of time here to make sure we're fresh for the last part of the match?
Sometimes it comes to the player's mindset. You're up 2-0, you're thinking, the game's just about done and dusted, but there's still half an hour to play, and sometimes you just accidentally drop off, don't you, CT?
Yeah, that's right, and Maitland should be extra aware of this because they've been in this position recently and know how costly it's been for them. What they need to be doing is having a clear understanding there's no semi-finals if we don't win today. So they've got to get their mindset right. And the second thing they've got to do is understand what's got them the goals. And it's not by sitting in, but it's been more about their attacking nature and getting Clark and Comerford really driving at players, I think will help shift their field position.
And a great crowd in this afternoon for Old Boys Day. Plenty just in front of the grandstand and up on the hill, across the face again. Gee, if you're a Maitland fan, you'd be pretty nervous at the moment. Here's York. Now to Green. Back for York, but Ryan Clark, well, he can turn a game in an instant. Pinches the ball from York and takes off. Would be a hammer blow if they scored a third here. Just as the Roosters seem to be getting back into it, he unable to do so, and it will be a corner.
It's exactly what we're just talking about. So now we've got a field position that's shifted because of one run from that particular player. And Matthew Comerford's the other one that's really capable of that also.
Here's an interesting stat from Lake Macquarie. So we've spoken about the amount of penalties that Maitland have scored this year. We'll come back to that just after this corner. So Maitland have scored 7 penalties this year. Matt Thompson 5, Ben Martin 2. It's Ryan Gallagher, I should say. He's going to go and have a chat to Sikulski. I don't know if that whistle's going to last the match.
Sure, there was a bit of how you going on there between Sikulski and Kelly.
Yeah, as long as it's cool.
Here it is called in and broadly away. So Lake Macquarie are the only side in the competition to have not scored a penalty all season. No penalties. And Maitland have scored 7. So there's the difference there. Here's Broadley. Now to Partridge. Here's a chance for the Roosters, but he played it straight into the congested area. He had Blake Green, who looks a little frustrated, far out on the western side.
This is where Maitland need a Matt Thompson on the park.
Totally
just to get everyone level again, get them back enthused, just get them pumping up again. Tell the defence to pop up, move up a little bit, squeeze the space. Because at the moment, even then, Lakes had about 5v4. They had numbers.
I should say, Blake Green over on the eastern side, the far side, and was looking frustrated as that ball didn't come to him. Here's Walker. Sam Walker tries to place it. Matt Trotty's a tough man to beat. Here's Comerford. Now to Clark.
Oh, great ball.
Back to Comerford. I think he clipped his heels there himself, and Sparrow all of a sudden now takes off down the near side. Tassel tracking after him.
Game's definitely starting to open up, boys.
Sparrow to Green. It's a stark contrast to the first half, isn't it? It's so open now.
So even Maitland not putting too much pressure on the ball. They're sort of just sitting in, allowing Lake Macquarie to have a bit of space, which for me...
They scored straight after the break, Maitland, and since then it's been Lake Macquarie controlling the match. Matt Tui, but they have nothing to show for it at the moment. The Roosters, if you're Anthony Richards, you'd be pretty pumped up at the moment, trying to get...
And if you look at the talk on the park, Lake Macquarie's really talking. Look, they're just bouncing the ball around here. That was...
Poor ball from Green, straight to Sikulski. And this is where Maitland can strike.
Ball had to be better there. If that ball's in the Matty Comerford, he's way one-on-one. And that wraps the game up. That needs to be better.
And you would back Matt Comerford home from there as well.
And that's the game.
And that is the game.
But as much as Maitland are sitting back here, it suits them, this style, to a T with the speed that they have, doesn't it?
Oh, I agree.
Now,
Sikulski straight
quick
into
challenge for you, Bart.
Yep.
Edgeworth's goalkeeper.
Nate Cavalieri.
So I've just got to tell you, someone very, very close.
Oh, we're going Cavalieri, is that right?
Yeah, I won't say her name because she's a good friend of
Because
mine.
you can't remember it.
Dutton Black.
Very, very good friend of mine, and she's almost tackled rugby league style yesterday over at Lambton Jaffers to make sure that we got that name correct. That's why I asked him Bart, because I knew, sorry, Smudge, because I knew it was Bart. So Cavalieri. Sorry about that name.
Well, I've had a bit of different advice on that. There you go. So I've been stitched up.
However,
Here's Fletcher.
But your memory on players' names is unbelievable. So it's good to actually pull you up on one, because you're about 99.9% accurate on everything.
Well, that's why I've made sure I've said it that way, because as I said, that was my prior information. CT there.
Can you bring that up next time we do an Edgeworth game? That's great. Pull Bart up. That's great.
And not only that, I could be stitching you up, Bart, so you might want to double check me as well.
Matt Tui over the top. So how good was this sauce? That's the question.
I'd say
Relative?
better. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we need to pull up my original sauce then, as here's Fletcher. Back for Kelly. It's just like Andrew Naboot. Everyone calls him Naboo, but it's Naboot. He actually confirmed that on Twitter. Okay. So,
anyway, people will be shocked if, not you, Bart, but if Smudge and I got things right, people will be absolutely shocked.
As here it goes back to Tassel.
Just on this game, Lake Macquarie showing a bit more enthusiasm than Maitland at the moment. So, boys, we've got Sports Click Man of the Match, and we've got the Harry's Player today. As we know, Harry's, the Junction, Marketown, in Stockland. Jesmond, yep. I love me the famous Monitor Cucumber with the sweet chili sauce, one of my favourite wraps of all time.
Yeah, you're all over that, Smudge. And, look, I'm going to have to start looking over as the amber stuff keeps flowing a little bit more towards the Old Boys' Day.
Oh,
Ben Kelly did well.
Kelly, oh.
And now he goes for a little bit of a trot.
Seen Ben Kelly's mum in the crowd, Sandra Kelly.
Comerford with the flick on to Sikulski. Simons goes
me,
back to
Sikulski.
Kelly, who slips over. And takes on Sikulski, loses possession, and then gets brought down. It will be a penalty. Will it be red? It will be red. Ben Kelly will be sent off. He made an absolute hash of that, didn't he? It's a moment to forget for the former Maitland keeper. Sent off. And that surely is it for Lake Macquarie now this afternoon.
Ben Kelly, BK, will be extremely disappointed with that.
Here's the replay. Now it was he slips over here. Surprised he didn't clear it. And then he dives in at Sikulski and takes him down.
So Lake Macquarie play Hamilton Olympic next week, is it? No, they've got the bye. They've got 2 games left. They've got Hamilton Olympic and Lake Macquarie.
They've got Hamilton Olympic. They've got Hamilton Olympic and
Edgeworth.
They don't play themselves.
Sorry. So that could
That'd
be
be an easy 3 points.
Would that be 2 games for Ben Kelly, straight red? Or would that be just the one?
I think that is only... It's actually Josh Simons that's down injured after all of that. So Cannon Ford is onto the ground. The backup goalkeeper. Played in the 20s this afternoon. So Matt Comerford to put the nail in the coffin. And we spoke about Lake Macquarie. Haven't scored a penalty all year. If Matt Comerford slots this one away, it will be number 8 for them this year. What a contrast that is. But I think it shows you how many chances Maitland create in the box.
You know what? Sometimes it's difficult to take a penalty when there's been an injury and a bit of time. So
Jai McKellar's gone on for Sikulski in the meantime. Now, I didn't check, Smudge, who was sacrificed for Cannon Ford. having a little glance round.
Yeah, I'm unsure as well.
So here it is, Comerford, and Cannon Ford makes the save and then spills it, and Lakes is in the back of the net. Oh, what heartbreak.
What happened there?
What a great save from Cannon Ford.
It's hit him in the stomach, actually.
And
He's
then Maitland scramble it over the line, and I think it's Matt Comerford that may have, in the end, got it there. What a save. He goes to grab it and then spills it.
I think. Chris Fayers gets the toe.
Chris Fayers may have got the touch.
Oh, yeah, I'd say Chris Fayers.
What a dramatic way to score a goal that was.
So we expected it to be 3-0, and it is. The penalty goes unconverted, but it is still 3-0.
Well, on the strength of that, Bart, and that spectacular goal, that takes it to 3. And I would be guessing that's going to be enough for this afternoon smudge. And just with that also, we've been lucky enough to be joined by another guest in Reece Thompson from Maitland Magpies. Tomo, that third goal must have been a pleasure to watch eventually go in.
Yeah, mate. I didn't want Camo taking it. I hope he listens to this replay because I just knew he was going to try and hit it as hard as he could and as straight as he could. So and he proved me right. I'll try to get Shane on that one, so Shane Sheriff. But mate, 3-0. I'm not sure what the other results were. I'm pretty sure Olympic. Well, here you go. He goes Camo in now.
Yeah, he's looking to get on the score sheet now. And here is Comerford, burns them and slots at Matt Comerford. What an individual goal that is. And it's 4-0 to the Magpies.
Sorry, Bart. I was just going to say what a fantastic individual effort there from Comerford. He's weaved his way. He's got past 1-2 and then all of a sudden angled himself to open the goals up and then left himself one-on-one with the keeper. And tell you what, Reece Thompson, he didn't make any mistake with that finish.
Nah, mate. I'm a fan favourite of Camo and he just proved why. So I just don't like him on the penalties. There you go.
We spoke about the ability of both Ryan Clark and Matthew Comerford to get forward and shift the passage of play and shift the field position with their individual runs. Is that something the team are conscious of or just something that happens?
No, mate, we're conscious of it. Look, those guys have got pace to burn. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure them and maybe Vigili and Cal Bradby are the fastest guys in the comp. So we're kind of lucky with them and we obviously try and utilise their pace as much as we can. Yeah,
and I mean, as a coach, you've got to be happy with that. I mean, I've known Camo for a long time, and he's very, very good at that. You know, that's a strength, and to see him score in that fashion, you'd have to be very happy with that.
Yeah, mate. Look, I see him do it week in, week out at training, so it doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you. You see your subs being made now. We'll push. Dutsy will come off, and Mardo will go to the top, and Clarkey will go out on the wide and the right. So all of a sudden we've got Camo and Clarkey either side of a target man. So we've got the ability to do that with these pace players, and it does really well. Yeah, absolutely. And now, you've got this one in the bag at 4-0. What are your thoughts on your game against Magic next week and your chances for semi-finals? Mate, I said to the boys at half-time, I said, we get through the 3 points today, and next week will be the biggest game of the season for us now. So we need to win, and it's almost a semi-final. Well, it is a semi-final for us. Whoever wins that's going to be a chance of it. Before today, I said to Damo, I said, mate, we need 10 points out of the next 4 games, and we see this game as 3, and there's obviously a couple other games that we must win, and next week's going to be massive game.
And Reece, it must give you a lot of confidence, that last match you played against Magic going into next week.
Look, mate, to be honest with you, the run that Magic's on now, I mean, a week's a long time in football, and I think now they're probably one of the teams to beat in the comp. So the confidence, I'm always confident in our boys, but it's how we show up on the day. So.
Yeah, Mitch Oxborough, his last game next week against you guys. So,
and finally, Reece, we do a midweek show. It goes for about 8 or 9 minutes, and you are our show sponsor. Have you actually seen one of the shows? Have you seen one?
Mate, I love a show. I watch it every week. I share it on Facebook. I think it's absolutely great what you've done for the local game. and I'm happy to be a part of it, and hopefully for many more years to come, I'll stay a part of it. So it'll be good.
Yeah, well, Smudge and I were talking earlier today about how it's just good fun, and all the people in, our local footballing community, it's a good fun thing to do, and, we enjoy it, but we enjoy having, your support with that as well. So thank you very much for that. And Tomo, good luck to you, yourself, and the rest of the group for the rest of the year and hopefully the semi-finals.
No worries, mate. Really appreciate the things you do, and just want to give a shout out to the ex-Maitland boys playing for Lakes, mate. Bunch of legends. So I'll go for a beer with them at the pub after the game. So it should be good.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks, guys.
Ben Martin breaking free, and Matt Tui
Cheers, Tomo.
did a great job there. Dispossess him. Partridge now to Sparran Lakes. They've copped a battering the last two matches. 5-0 on Tuesday night against the Jets, and now 4-0 here against Maitland. So it's 10 unanswered goals now for them, including that last goal that they conceded against Adamstown in round 17. So they're just struggling now to find form in front of goal.
So, boys, we'll have to start thinking about Sports Click Man of the Match. Any thoughts so far? There is, 15 to go, so... For me, Ryan Clark's been quite impressive. Cairnsdale Sheriff at the back.
Good, but he had some chances earlier in the match, and he wasn't as clinical as what he would like. Matt Comerford's been very, very good.
Yeah.
Chris Faye's in the middle of the park.
Yeah, Chris Faye's has been very busy for me. He's been good.
Yeah, I mentioned to Reece Thompson before. I've known Matt Comerford for a long, long time. Know his game well, and today seems like, you know what, he stepped up today for this match, and because he knows how important the games like this are. He's very familiar with this ground because he used to play here, and just his determination with that second goal that he got. Brilliant individual effort there, Smudge.
That was a brilliant goal. I was just saying to Bud earlier, unsure what's in the running for goals of the week, but that one has to come into consideration, just that solo effort from halfway.
Yeah, and he definitely has the ability to do that. He's you can see he's limping a little bit now, I think, but he'll just carry on because he's just as tough as nails. He is.
The other one for me, Dutton Black, I thought had a very solid game, and Carl Thornton in the middle of the park. He's just been quietly going about his business, winning the challenges.
He is a great player, isn't he, Carl Thornton? A lot of people say he's one of the premier defenders in the competition.
He's a brilliant centre back. Yeah, when I was coaching the NPL select side many years ago, I had him at centre back, first choice. But he just goes about his business. He's very busy, wins the challenges, just gets off it, never tries to overplay it, and they're the players you really like.
So Matt Comerford trotting down to the corner.
And just on that, our player of the day, Harry Snitty player of the day. Well, one contender would have to be Cumberford for his goal, that solo effort.
That was a great goal from Cumberford.
But not that definitely not that corner.
Not that corner.
Cannon forward, the penalty save, and then spills it. I don't know if that would be the play of the day as McKellar hasn't played much NPL, started many NPL matches this year, John McKellar, but he was Maitland's go-to man in the FFA Cup.
I thought he did well in the FFA Cup, especially against Edgeworth. So any thoughts on the Harry Snitzel Man of the Match CT?
Harry Snitzel Player of the Day?
What about Harry Snitzel Player of the Day CT?
Yeah, well, there we go. We're getting a little bit closer to it.
I know it's late on in the season, Smudge.
Well, at this point, unless something unusual happens down there in the old boys, with the amber stuff, then I'd be kind of leaning towards that goal from individual effort from Matt Comerford.
Yep, I would have to go with that as well. Tassel gets away from Partridge, and then Matt Tui. Well, he's potentially lucky.
He needs to be careful. Yeah, that was just a solid challenge. I think he just missed the ball. That was just real solid.
My God, it'd be like running into a dead-set brick wall.
And he does some work with the Knights. I'm pretty sure he does some
he's
work
a fitness
with the Knights under 20s.
He looks like he'd bench press them, is what he looks like.
Yeah. And just on Tassel,
I tell you what, that was a solid hit, wasn't it?
Yeah. He just stood his ground, didn't he? But just on Tassel, he's been a good find for Maitland this year. Nice young boy from Maitland. He's been great at right fullback.
So Matt Comerford on the left boot, and in the end it sits nicely for McKellar. Fires as his pocket picked by Sam Walker, who goes to his brother Tom. Tom Walker goes to Broadley, squares it up, and Zach Hill over to Blake Green. No goals this year for Tom Walker, actually.
He's playing a little bit in a deeper role, isn't he, CT, in the midfield? So
his brother Sam with 11. He scored 6 last season. Sam scored 31.
Which is disappointing, really. Well, probably not disappointing is not the right word, but you'd expect that he's going to get some goals because he's normally good for, sort of 6-8 goals a year.
He's got a good free kick on him, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
And CT, Steve Ross Pigliosi, not playing for Lake Macquarie, hasn't been playing for a few weeks now. What's the info on him?
I don't know. Peru, as he's affectionately known, he was carrying injuries and some bumps earlier in the season, but I don't know. You might remember him that he was wearing 2 different coloured boots.
He was.
For those
I tell you what, CT, we were talking about Lake Macquarie with their heftiest defeat last week against the Jets. Well, their second biggest defeat was earlier in the season, round 5 against Lambton, where they were beaten 4-0. So whenever we turn up, it seems to be a bad luck charm for the Roosters when they're playing at home. When they're playing away, remember they beat Magic when we're calling that match at Magic Park. But here at Macquarie Field, we seem to be doing them a disservice. We see a change here for Maitland. It's going to be Lachlan Yates on for Ryan Clark, who's had a great...
He had a solid game, Ryan Clark.
Good game.
Dangerous every time he had the ball. He did miss a few goals, but you know what? He was the one who created his own opportunity, just due to sheer pace.
Cansdale Sheriff along the carpet, and then Thornton and Walker have balked each other there, and the ball's gone across the touchline.
Carl Thornton's been one that has been very consistent throughout this game also. When we're looking at Sports Click men of the match.
So boys, you just feel this round 19, this was sort of a round where you couldn't cement a spot in the top 4, but you could go a long way to losing that spot in the top 4. Next week, that is the big weekend. That'll be the weekend that decides, really, I feel, who's going to be playing at the back end of August in the semi-final series. As Blake Green threads it through for Matt Trott. Next weekend is going to be huge.
Have you looked far enough into the draw, Bart, to know whether it's who's got the home game for Maitland? For
Versus
Maitland
who?
and Broadmeadow.
It's at Maitland.
It is at Maitland.
It's at Maitland next week.
That one up at Cook Square Park. Yeah, huge match. Remember, we were at the
two
match.
massive games.
And remember, CT, if you remember, McKellar cross the base, Martin
what a
cannon
save.
forward. I don't know how much he knew about it, but he did well to just flick it over the bar. CT, I don't know if you were at the game. Were you at the game where Maitland beat Magic 7-0?
I certainly was.
So, yeah, I thought that you would work it out.
Sorry, I didn't really think too hard. Thanks, Bart. Yeah, it's nice. I was looking forward, not backwards. Yep, there you go. Is that a stitch up from before because of Cavalieri?
I think it's 1-1. I didn't even think about that, but 1-1. 1-1. We'll call it 1-1. So, Comerford.
Yeah, so Maitland's run home. He's obviously Maitland versus Broadmeadow at Maitland next week.
Then there whips it in, Martin there again. Tui. And now Green sets it up. McKellar. Partridge off the line. Thornton looking for a rare double. Ben Martin, can he get on the ball? Squares it up. Martin, surely someone's going to score. And in the end, it'll just be a goal kick.
Yeah, then
Maitland couldn't get his shot on target.
Yeah, so Maitland's got Broadmeadow at home. Then they travel to Lambton, which is another big game at Lambton the following week. And then they round out the season at home to Adamstown. So for me, I said if they Adamstown,
don't they? You've got to say 3 points there for Maitland.
No, they need to beat Broadmeadow. If they don't beat Broadmeadow, they're gone, because then Broadmeadow's in the box seat to take that 4th spot, or 3rd or 4th spot. So next week's crucial for them.
If they draw with Magic Smudge, are they still a chance?
No. I don't think so.
They'll still be 2 points away.
Depends on the result. Yeah. That keeps Broadmeadow in the lead, and they play.
Free kick.
You know what, mate? I'm unsure. It depends on Valentine and Hamilton. If them two teams draw, well, then they're both sort of in with a slight sniff. So
And it's still wide open. Chris Fayes. And he can't find the target. Yes, Mudge, I was saying to CT when you went for a little bit of a stroll that this week really it was a round where you couldn't quite cement your spot in the 4, but you could definitely lose a grip. And next week is
definitely
huge. It's probably the biggest round in the competition. I know round 22 we've got Hamilton and Hamilton taking on Magic, but next week Magic and Maitland and Hamilton and Valentine. They are ginormous encounters.
Yeah, that's right. So Lambton have the bye next week, so it gives Edgeworth an opportunity
to seal the deal.
I wouldn't say seal the deal, but they play Western, which, you know what, you'd probably put money on them to beat Western at the moment, because obviously Western's lost a few players during the week.
Broadly, straight into the waiting arms of Matt Trott. Got a bump from Cairnsdale Sheriff for his troubles on the way through.
Yeah, so Western travelled to Edgeworth, Adamstown at home to Charlestown, Hamilton at home to Valentine, and Maitland at home to Broadmeadow.
And score update at Hamilton, at Western I should say. Hamilton's still up
2-0, yep.
Scott Smith and Reese Pappas with the goals in the first half there.
So boys, we've got 5 minutes to go. Sports Click man of the match. Obviously, player of the day, we're looking at Matty
Carl
Cumberford.
Thornton.
Carl Thornton, yeah, I agree. He's been an unsung hero for. We've barely called his name, but what he does, he's just.
Here he is.
He's always there and abouts on the ball.
You know, and sometimes when you've got someone that works that hard, it's the little things that they do that go unnoticed, just like that. Just pick it up, drop it off, and they're out. And he's been doing that all day. And you're right, Smudge, we've barely mentioned him, but he's just been that real Lynch in the and they needed him today, because you've got Matt Thompson that's not there, and they need a leader, and he's performed that job. Yeah,
I think he's been superb. Obviously, you had Clark and Cumberford dangerous all day, Dutton Black dangerous all day, but for me, it's just been like a workmanlike performance from Carl Thornton.
As I said, you know, you rely on Matt Thompson a lot, you know, for his leadership on the park, for what he does off the ball and on the ball. Someone else has got to stand up, and Carl Thornton's done that.
So Brad York stopped in his tracks momentarily by Yates, and now Lakes break. Broadly cuts back to Walker. Looks across goal. Blake Green fires onto it. Looks at wide for Fletcher. 5 goals for Blake Green this season, including that one against Adamstown. That was one to remember in the early part of the season. Ben Martin to Captain Carl, who's our man of the match this afternoon, our Sports Click man of the match. Cumberford. McKellar lets it run on towards Martin. Unlucky. They've racked up the goals again this afternoon. Another big win for Maitland. So, some huge results for them throughout the season. 7-0 over Magic, 6-1 over the Jets, and 4-0 here. So 17 of their 36 goals have come in 3 matches. There's Yates after this one. They confirm themselves as the second best attacking side in the comp behind Lambton. Hamilton have added a third. They lead Western 3-0 now. And the other match from this round was played a week and a half ago. That was Valentine and the Jets Youth. Yes, it was a week and a half ago. Valentine and
that's when Daniel Minor scored that absolute bomb.
It turned up on Fox Sports as well, so you know you're doing a good job if you can get it there. Is Ben Martin infield for McKellar. There's Fletcher again, putting his body on the line, and that shows you the kind of player he is. His side's down 4-0, diving in there. A lot of players.
Carl Thornton's challenge on Sam Walker then was absolutely superb. That's what he's been doing all day.
Hasn't given him an inch, has he?
Not an inch at all.
Martin, he's got Cumberford out wide. Matt Cumberford to put a little bit more tasty icing on this big cake for Maitland. He's run himself into a cul-de-sac and then almost won a penalty. And then Blake Green nicks it off him.
Yeah, he probably could have pulled the trigger a little bit earlier there, Matt Comfort. Got himself into a great position. If he had his time again, he would have pulled the trigger, I think, a bit earlier. Even so, he's had a solid game, hasn't he?
Sparray, wide he goes for Walker. And Tassel there. Hard working again, the right back for Maitland. So less than 30 seconds now of regulation time. In our final match of the round here at Macquarie Field for season 2017. Sparray down to the corner and just the goal kick. It's been good to come out here to Macquarie Field on Old Boys Day, CT. We've only been out here twice this year for the Roosters, but good to get out here and see them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my intention to sit down and have a couple of woo-ha's with the boys, but thought I'd stick it out with you two.
Well, lucky you didn't do that, because otherwise it could have got a little interesting here.
Either that or I wouldn't have come back.
Here's Brad York. And now Tui. Looks forward, Zach Hill. Is there a fifth here for Maitland? You just sense they're looking dangerous, even with Ben Martin. And here it is. Ben Martin just couldn't get away from Matt Tui, who, while they have conceded 4, he has been rock solid. Hasn't let many past him. McKellar takes on Fletcher. And handball against the Maitland forward.
But Ryan Gallagher's had a good game this afternoon. So kept things in check, and what potentially is one of those games that could get a little out of hand, but he certainly kept it under good wrap.
Yes, and he's actually taking on Smudge's challenge, not this week, but the week after, Ryan Gallagher. He's our last contestant. Can he beat Stephen Laurie's time? How about Loza?
Loza was on fire, wasn't he?
And what about Peter Haynes? Wasn't that a great touch?
Yeah, it's great to see, recognition where it's due, and he certainly has that, and he'll be missed in Northern football as far as his footballing ability goes, but he'll be around. He works for the Federation, and he'll continue on his good work in that capacity.
And rumour is he might be replacing Smudge next year on Bar TV.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but he certainly might do an odd fill-in for us, that's for sure. And you know what? His knowledge of the game is great, and you have to get a crowbar between Smudge and I to get us off the seat.
Well, he's already started the hashtag Smudge out. So he's loving you, CT.
Yeah.
Comfort. Smudgy's eyeing.
All jokes aside, he's had a wonderful career, and he's really done himself and his region proud. Just the way he's conducted himself on and off the park, and he represents for all young players, in terms of playing at this level and what our semi-professional league looks like, and how to hold yourself. He's just done a fantastic job.
Didn't he speak really well as well? That advice he gave to young players: enjoy it while it lasts. I thought that was a very, very good comment from him.
Yeah, absolutely, and you become more conscious of that as you get older, because you kind of know when your time's running out, and you value every game more often, and as your body starts to break down a little bit.
Here's Fayers to Martin. Cannon Ford comes out.
Year after year, it's just getting a little bit harder.
And that will do us this afternoon at Macquarie Field. The Magpies' dreams of a finals berth will go on, but 3 wins from their last 3 matches will still be required for Maitland if they want to make the top 4. That starts with Magic next weekend, and they win at Macquarie Field for the first time since 2009. The win moves them to within 2 points of 5th place Broadmeadow, and they are sitting 4 points away from 4th place Valentine. And for Lakes, they'll continue to play for pride in the coming weeks. They have 2 matches left against Hamilton Olympic and Edgeworth. Sam Walker is still a big chance for the Golden Boot, and no doubt that they will aim to get him to that award. He's just 1 goal away from Jalen Brown, who's sitting at the top of that at the moment, but you'd expect he'll probably score a few more this season as well. So it'll be a tightly run race. So full time here at Macquarie Field. Lake Macquarie 0, Maitland Magpies 4. We're going to head down onto the pitch, CT, where Smudge is going to have a chat to
He's
the
going to have a
Sports
chat.
Click Man of the Match, Carl Thornton.
That's
so
correct.
we'll head down there in a sec.
Yeah, we'll head down there in a moment, and we're also going to get our Harry Schnitzel Player of the Day winner in Matthew Comerford. Hopefully he won't swear this week. And we'll have a chat to him as well about his goal. But I'll tell you what, Maitland have come away with a victory here, and they've done a good job in terms of today was it. If they don't win today, there's no semi-finals, and they're very, very aware of that, as Reece Thompson has said, and that now they're going to get themselves organised for a massive game next week.
And Ryan Gallagher, he heads down the tunnel, referee from this afternoon. Did a very good job.
He certainly did, and you know, I mentioned before, sometimes these games can get a little bit out of check, but it didn't happen on this occasion, and he kept it all together, so good job to him.
And that's the thing, I know he had a tough week last week in that Charlestown-Lambton game, so a very good, you say players when they have a bad game, they respond the next week. I know copped a bit last week from that match, so a really good response from him with the whistle.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's a quality referee, so no real surprises there, to be honest.
So we're going to go into the sheds actually first, as Anthony Richards has got his side out on the ground for their warm down, stretch, etc. So Maitland are going to be singing the team song just a second. We'll see if we've got some pictures from inside the away sheds. And then it will be man of the match. Sports Click Man of the Match, which is Carl Thornton, and the Player of the Day, Matt Comerford. If you missed his goal, wonderful individual goal, weaving around and slotting home. Another goal for him this season. He scored 5 now in 2017. Just about ready. Just having a look on the monitor in the sheds. Just that other score, that final score at Western, it was 3-0 to Hamilton. All right, we'll head to the sheds. Here is Maitland.
Ready to go? Okay, I have Carl Thornton, Maitland Magpies midfielder, as our Sports Click Man of the Match. We're right to go? Yep. Carl, was a bit of a tight first half, but he's really took control in the second half. What were your thoughts on the game?
Started off, we pretty much end-to-end. I thought we had created a bit of the chances in the first half. Probably didn't capitalise enough. Should have been maybe 2-3 up. We knew they were going to come out in the second half. So we needed to get a goal early just to finish them off, and we got that goal early and then sort of went on with it. Could have been a few more, but happy with the 4-0 win.
Yeah, totally agree. I thought the first half, you should have been probably at least 2 up at half-time. Scored the early goal in the second half. Then you sort of dropped off for a 10-minute period where Macquarie sort of got on top, and then we thought your leadership and control of the game sort of led the way for Maitland to finish the game off.
Yeah, I guess sometimes when the other team goes to 10-man and 2-0 down, they sort of got nothing to lose, so they sort of pushed numbers forward and kept the ball well there in patches without sort of, I don't think they really created much with the ball. So we just had to withstand the pressure, and then, with the pace we've got out wide and that, we're always chance of scoring a few more.
I was going to say your transitional play was excellent today, moving the ball nice and quick to Ryan Clark, Matty Comerford, Dutton Black, really caused havoc for the late Macquarie defence.
Yeah, when we're playing our best, you sort of get numbers in behind the ball and then transition quickly, and a lot of teams can't handle, the likes of Clarkey and Comerford and Dutty out wide. They're a handful for the best of defences, so we just know if we we nullify their attack and then move quickly, we're going to get a few goals.
Yeah, when we're looking at Sports Click Man of the Match, there was quite a few contenders there, but we thought your leadership on the park, we didn't call your name too many times throughout the call, but you just won everything you needed to be, and your leadership, just driving people, especially in that last 30 minutes, was superb.
Yeah, especially without Tomo today, I guess someone had to stand up and sort of just make sure we controlled that midfield and make sure everyone was in the right places and that. So I guess me sort of playing in the defensive role, I can sort of see a bit more than the other midfielders, so it makes it a bit easier.
And just finally, Magic next week, a crucial game against Magic. Probably a must-win, to be honest, to make the top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a must-win today, and we probably have to win the remainder of our games, but we're not too far behind now, so the pressure's probably on the other teams. We're sort of the underdogs, so we'll just go out. We had a good result against them in the first round, so we know they're beatable. We'll just go out there, give our best shot, get a win there. We're right back in the final mix, so we'll look forward to finish the rest of the season.
Well, Carl, mate, congratulations on our Sports Click Man of the Match. Well done, mate, and good luck next week. I'll hand you over to Chris Turner with our Player of the Day, Matty Cumberford.
So with us here, we've got Matthew Cumberford. He asked me whether the Harry Schnitzel is going to be about his penalty. I said, no, it's actually about your goal, mate. So brilliant individual effort. Talk us through it.
Oh, I was just a bit dirty on missing the penalty, so I thought I'd make up for it. And, yeah, just opened up and took them on, come off.
So you picked the ball up somewhere just in your own 18. Was that about where you picked it up?
Oh, I think it was more up near halfway, but we'll say 18.
Yeah, so talking through that goal, I mean, all jokes aside, you picked the ball up. You had definitely a lot of work to do. You beat 2 and 3 players, and then all of a sudden you angled yourself and opened yourself up with the one-on-one with the keeper.
Yeah, that's my natural game sort of thing. Just put my head down and try and beat as many players as I can and come off. Thank God.
Now, last time we were speaking, we were talking about, you're running to the semi-finals. Look, it's a reality now, but you've got a big game in Broadmeadow Magic next week.
Yeah, it's a must-win game, that one. We beat them 7-0 first round, but I don't think that's going to be the case this time. They're on a roll, so hopefully we can keep our roll going and win every game from here.
Now, last time you got Player of the Day, you actually swore on Bar TV. It hasn't happened today, so congratulations, and you win our Harry Schnitzel Player of the Day, and wonderful effort, and congratulations.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Bar TV.
Cheers. Now, look, we are going to wrap up. Bart's out doing some interviews, Smudge. Yep. Just a final wrap-up from you on the game.
I think Maitland deserved the win. They were very good today. But full credit to the late Macquarie. They've had a great season this year. They've probably done better than expected, but big game next week, Magic versus Maitland. But also Hamilton versus Valentine could really decide what's going to happen in the Final Four.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 really big games next week, and we're looking forward to those. So until then, we'll see you next week.